at the Vatican, where President Trump met with Pope Francis for the first time this morning. The two leaders greeted one another warmly, shaking hands, posing for photos, before holding a nearly 30-minute meeting behind closed doors. Now, as is tradition, the president and the Pope also exchanged gifts. The visit coming after two exchanged some sharp words over key issues, including immigration, during the presidential campaign. Remember this?
A person who thinks only about building walls wherever they may be and not building bridges is not Christian.
For a religious leader to question a person's faith is disgraceful. I'm proud to be a Christian if and when the Vatican is attacked by ISIS. I can promise you that the Pope would have only wished and prayed that Donald Trump would have been president.
Joining us right now with more on this historical visit, Catholic League President Bill Donohue. Bill, thanks so much for joining the conversation this morning. Well, what do you see from this meeting? What kind of a message does this send, the two of them meeting today, after what we heard during the campaign?
Well, obviously, they're more concerned about national security. That trumped everything. But, you know, even that clip there, this is what the media have been doing. The Pope was on the papal plane, and a guy from Reuters says to him, well, Trump wants to separate families. Trump told Chuck Todd, I don't want to separate families. So they lied to the Pope, is my point, about what Trump said. And the Pope said, listen, if this is what he said, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, there's a little bit of a nuance there. Look, the New York Times and the Washington Post are out this morning already saying that the two men are diametrically opposed. You know who's diametrically opposed? The Pope and Obama. Obama was a big proponent of abortion, euthanasia, gay marriage, embryonic stem cell research, gender ideology. You know, men and women switching genitals. Okay. That's what the Pope said was demonic. Now, you'll never hear the media talk about that. They want to set up this controversy about climate change. There is no Catholic teaching on climate change. Yeah. We have a stewardship toward the environment. So this is a faux controversy because they love the Pope, because he's left on social and economic issues, and they hate the president. Well, it's very simple to figure out.
It's very simple to figure out, but it's also persistent, right? I mean, Dagan at the beginning of the program just points out that here we are covering the president's first international trip, and what do we see on all of the media? All of the coverage about Russia and this non-existent collusion that continues to be driven down. So what is the end result here? I mean, something's got to give. The media cannot stand this president, and that's all we hear about is what they want to cover and a bias toward everything.
Listen, I woke up this morning, listened to radio, and they said that there's a picture of the Pope, the president and the Pope, and the president is smiling, the Pope is not, and they're reading something into that. I met with the Pope. You know what? When he meets you, he shakes your hand. When you have a still picture, he sits there dour. Now, can you imagine if Trump has a dour look on his face and the Pope is laughing? Can you imagine what the narrative would be then? Right. What if the two of them are sitting there like this, stone-faced depressed? What are they going to say then?
Let's speculate what's going on in their heads.
I've never in my life seen less objective reporting in my life than what a lot of these major media people are doing now, led by the New York Times and the Washington Post.
Yeah, Dagan, how do you see it?
Well, and to Bill's point, the press literally tries to put words in the mouth of the holy leader by asking these set-up questions. But how does the Vatican react to this? How does the Pope react to this? They don't, right? They just move on, and they know who the people are. They know what is important. They know what the most clear message is to send, and I love watching Pope Francis work a crowd and kiss baby after baby, and that's really what's important. It's not what the press writes about you, it's the visuals and the images that they put out there.
Right, and they do have a lot more in common. They are concerned about national security. I mean, obviously, the President of the United States, as Commander-in-Chief, has to be concerned about arms. Now, the Pope is more left on some of these things, but again, on the moral issues, he's very good, but you're not going to hear too much about that. Look, the Pope is concerned about the poor. So is Trump. Trump is in a position that the Pope never was in. The Trump can actually give people jobs, and he's done a good job on it.
Yeah.
One of the things, this is a great shepherd, this Pope. Everybody seems to love this Pope. But there was a departure, Bill, won't you agree, when he published some of the materials he did on global warming? I can't remember another Pope
anybody else
stepping out and saying, this is my view on the environment. So what's your reaction to that? It feels like he's far afield.
He got too deep into the weeds. As a matter of fact, if you read that document, which I have, he actually says he's against air conditioning. I can guarantee you the Pope has AC in the Vatican.
Oh, my my God. So the president gave Pope Francis a collection of writings from Martin Luther King Jr. In return, Pope Francis gave the president a medal which symbolized peace and books on family as well. What do you make of the exchange of gifts, Bill?
I don't think there's a whole lot there. I mean, Martin Luther King is a hero in this country, and I'm sure that the Pope accepted that. Again, I just think, look, the media were not there. See, that's just it. So they're going to look at the photo ops, and they're going to go back to these faux controversies and things of that nature. Look, so far this trip has been a success for him, and that's the bad news for the media.
I'll just add one thing, though, too, because you mentioned all the social issues on which President Trump and Pope Francis would agree. President Trump doesn't talk about them as much as people on the left like to talk about social issues, whether it is the issue of gay marriage and abortion. But you know what? For a political leader, that's important here in the United States because it is the separation of church and state. He's literally, rather than going on about it, leaving it up to somebody's religion and their religious leaders to, it's a personal decision for those individuals. And so I praise Trump for not talking about it as much as the left likes to talk about things like abortion.
If anything, what I get a kick out of, all I've been told is that we have separation of church and state. How many people in the media are saying they want the president to take his cues from the Pope? So since when now we have a president who's supposed to listen to Rome? I thought for years it was the other way around. Rome should keep its mouth shut and let the president do what he wants. Now, all of a sudden, we are obedient to Rome. They really need to get principled and get on the same page.
Yeah, I would add CNN to your list of New York Times.
Oh, they're horrible these days.
Well,
horrible.
they hate the president. I mean, that's
true.
pretty clear.
Yeah.
Bill, thanks very much for your insight this morning. Bill Donohue joining us there.